the white male, landowning male in the center of everything, even if that's not necessarily the case. We look at Charles Beard, and we talked about him last unit, where he was looking at a economic interpretation of the Constitution, and Lynn really takes him to task again about why can, a population of human, 1/5 of the human population of America at that time is slaves, and they contribute a huge portion to the economy, and so why are they not part of his economic interpretation? Lynn basically argues that it's because Beard lumps these groups together of like subsistence farmers and commercial farmers and plantation owners all together as just agriculture, agrarian society, when in fact, slavery really pushed the southern plantations into the economic sphere of capitalism. And so we have that. Really, Lind is the one that I think gets closest to this idea of bottom-up history. He talks about when we admit slavery and we don't talk about it, Beard basically discounts the role of the abolitionist. And the abolitionist is this group of individuals or that history hasn't spoken for to this point in our class, and the the omission of them robs a great point in which the Constitution was an agreement between hell and slavery. It was a way where the country kind of sold its soul to the devil to protect one of its institutions. And finally, we have Kolko, who writes The Triumph of Conservatism. We don't actually read the whole book, just the introduction and the conclusion. I wish I would have had more time this week to actually explore the book. It looks fascinating. One of my favorite time periods has always been the progressives, because I always assumed that I was always taught that it was the common people stepping forward and making a change in government. Kolko kind of takes that idea and throws it on its head, basically stating that, we already discussed this in this video, but that big business was actually the one pulling the levers, getting social groups to be active for the goals of big business. Big business wanted to pass these regulations, such as meat inspection or child labor, to limit competition. One of the things that Yesselson notes that I forgot to talk about was the fact that while that may be true and Kolko may have a point, there are other groups such as like Jane Addams or some of the progressive movements, some of the progressive individualists that were working to end child labor well before businesses decided to come online. So there could be some criticism there that could be explored. But I'm 13 and a half minutes into this thing, so let me get to my questions, and I'll get out everybody's hair here. I thought since I had 3 primary sources, I would write 3 questions for each source. First, with Hayam, I thought it would be interesting to see, with your interpretation of Hayam, if you could identify or locate themes from the other 2 works, Lind and Kolkum, that are present in Hayam's Beyond Consensus. What do Lin and Kolko touch on that Hayam may have laid out to begin with? Number 2, is Lin's assessment of Turner and Beard fair, given this quote that I'm going to pull out of Hayam's Beyond Consensus? He says, we hold people responsible only to the degree that we think they are free to choose their course. So are Turner and Beard being treated fairly given the time frame in which they wrote, would they have been able to actually argue successfully against the biases and prejudices of their time if they had chosen to take up the issue of slavery in their work? Should we hold them responsible to the degree where did they actually have a degree to choose and to write? And then finally, in Kokel's assessment, in his conclusion, he spends a great deal of time talking about Marx and Weber, and he talks about Marx's theory and Weber's economic theory. And I wonder if this is an argument to further his own. Is this a method to further his own argument that big business was actually kind of pulling the strings in America, or was this his attempt to distance himself from radical thinkers of Europe that wouldn't be well received in 1963 America? We're coming out of the McCarthyism phase of America, but I mean, we're still very anti-communist, anti-Marxist, anti-socialist, and Marx and Weber are really they're the foundation of socialism. And so taking that time to really take those two thinkers to task, was that just a tool to distance himself from socialism, or was that a method to actually further his argument? So those are my three questions. I've taken a lot longer than I thought I should have to, but I appreciate you sticking with me. Thanks for reading the paper and watching this, and good luck with the rest of the class. Thank you very much.